Thank you to the organizer and my thesis supervisor for the opportunity to participate to this project. I'm Andrea Calcagnini, and today I will present my thesis work, which focuses on a digital reconstruction in archaeology, with the aim of sharing cultural heritage. I work on the archaeological site of Santa Mustiola in Peccioli, Pisa, where I create a 3D model of the early phase of the church, and the results include a parametric digital model and a virtual reality experience for immersive exploration. I will begin by introducing the case of study and reconstruction goals based on direct observation of the site. I will then explain the historical, archival, and archaeological research that provides the church's planimetric data. Finally, I will present the results achieved so far. The investigation of Santa Mustiola and Peccioli site began in 2004, led by the municipality of Peccioli, to increase the area's historical heritage. The site is located in a private hill between the village of Ghizzano and Castelfalfi, near the Pisa-Florence border. The excavation revealed two phases of the church, remains from the 1st century, and over 300 burials dating from the 7th to the 16th century. In particular, the site has a more or less continuous occupation from the Roman times to present, changing its function multiple times. Initially, it was like a part of a Roman villa or a settlement, as evidenced by the Roman cistern. Down further trace of it remain today. During the barbarian invasion, the area became a Lombard outpost for the conquest of nearby Volterra, as a similar and small military structure, like a satellite of the nearby castle of Castelfalfi, housed a small group of Lombards who likely occupied the hill until the end of the 7th century. Subsequently, through in-depth archival and bibliographical research, we discover evidence of a building associated with the cult of Santa Mustiola, a saint of a Lombard tradition. We find reference to it in a document for 1018. In the later document from 1127, on the Decime map from the 13th century, and finally in a notarial act from 1212, where it mentioned the reconstruction of the church by a monastery from Lucca. In this period, the cemetery phase of the area grew, lasting until 1515, when the Pope Julius II, through a papal bull, downgraded several churches to oratory status. Consequently, in the following century, the church lost its importance and fell into ruin, and was plundered, and the hill later became a woodland to supply a fuel for a brick kiln. From the study of the sites, several needs emerge. The primary one is to create a representation tools for the museum, as the site's step slopes make it so difficult to create accessible paths. Additionally, since excavation is still ongoing and visits are limited, the site is located 10 kilometers from the museum, and so many visitors haven't seen it, making it hard to understand. A digital representation could spark interest and encourage the visit. Another need is to clarify the trace of the ground, which are often compromised or missing. A 3D image helps to link the archaeological data and the interpretation for a broader audience. We propose a virtual experience that combines various data to offer a complete representation of the site. However, it is not always possible to rely only on the archaeological and archival evidence, as some data is irreparably lost. In this case, we use a comparison with similar churches to infer technical characteristics. This, together with the laser scanning data, helped us to create a 3D model based on our communicative goals. In this slide highlights the complexity of the site, where different historical phases overlap. In the image, show two phases of the church in blue and in green. With the hatched areas, I'm indicating where materials were removed. From the archaeological analysis, we found a best preserved wall, unit 2039, that is made of stone blocks laid in horizontal courses and with a rubble core. The roof probably consisted only in curved tiles based on the fragment that was found. A lintel and a jamb suggest an opening on the south facade. The southern corner feature a special chisel technique, and the archaeologist also identified a pseudo-apsid inferred from a trace of removed eastern facade. The burials provide clues about the floor height based on the depth of the grave. Here, there are some photos of the site during the excavation, showing how collapses, burials, and trees roots make interpretation more difficult. The data survey. The data survey was collected using a Leica RTC 360 laser scanner. We perform a 38 scan with a resolution of 6 millimeters at 10 meters. The point cloud was generating by the alignment of the scan and resulting in 50 connection and average overlap of the 38%. Since archaeological data alone was not enough for the complete understanding, we studied similar churches to fill in the gaps. The analysis was based on 4 key parameters. The first, the dating. Based on a mortar analysis and documents, the church was dated to the 8th century. The area of influence. In fact, the site lies in a region that frequently changes hands between Pisa, Lucca, and Florence. But the Lombard foundation suggests a stronger link within Lucca. The masonry texture, although only a small part of the original masonry was survived, we compared it to similar churches. The dimension and proportion. Despite limited data, we were able to estimate the church dimension and the architectural style. Sorry. From this parameter, we select 10 churches for the comparison from the initial sample of 15. From each case of study, we create a shed outline the main geometric and proportional aspect to help deduce the original design intent. We compared the results visually and numerically to identify recurring proportional patterns. The building's dimensions were broken down into a basic schedule, with other measurements being multiple of this module. This allowed us to redraw the church based on this recurring proportion. The data was then summarized into 3 diagrams showing the dimensional analysis, the plan, and the main facade. The final model combined the survey data, the archaeological analysis, and findings from comparative studies. The church measured 6.73 meters by 14.76 meters, which a pseudo-apsid on the east side and an entrance on the west and south side. The presbytery occupies the eastern half of the building. Here, are some technical drawing and a mock-up of the 3D model. The model was created using a parametric software and rendered with Twinmotion. The interior was designed for a visualization purpose. To summarize, we used several tools for the project. Cyclone Register for the scan alignment, Cloud Compare for cleaning the data, and Metashape for processing comparative church data. CAD for floor, plans, and section, and Excel to organizing measurement. ArchiCAD is used for the 3D modeling and Twinmotion for the rendering. And 3D Vista is used for the creation of a platform for the virtual reality. The support create allow for the creation of a model that promotes education and dissemination. It presents the potential to expand access to a site and history, offering a dynamic and interactive approach to learning. Edutainment is used as a method to make history more engaging. The result of the work was presented during the Night of Archaeology and the Archaeological site, and more recently at the guided tour of archaeological area, an image of which is shown here. In conclusion, further research can expand the comparative studies and use a more precise survey method for this. This would allow us to identify a statistically significant sample and design characteristics applicable to other sites. Additionally, it will be beneficial to further develop the digital support and tailor it better to the museum typical audience. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to access the reconstruction using the QR code on this slide.